Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. I'm your host, Saheem, the Dream, and I am coming to you guys to talk to you about Smackdown and, of course, Payback. If you guys are joining me today, right now, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, tag a friend, tag a coworker, and let's talk about WWE Smackdown. And let's get into all the good stuff.
Yo, 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 yo.
J McMahon.
What it do, what it does. Hold on, could I bet.
Yeah, I had to finish that. I had to finish SmackDown or finish the good parts. So I just got finished watching LA Knight and Miz.
SmackDown was real confusing. I'm not even gonna lie.
It felt like it was all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell going on.
Yeah, you had John Cena coming out saying that he's hosting Payback. And then you had Jimmy. You had Jimmy come out.
Payback need a host.
Right. And he's supposed to be addressing everybody concerning the issue with him and his brother. And it was like while John Cena was out there, then he takes a FU or AA from John Cena. And it was like, all right, which I felt like it shouldn't have been an AA. I felt like he should have took a super kick from Jimmy, if they're going to be like going big on his heel character.
Super Cena. Cena don't take finishes.
unless the money's right.
But I realized when Jimmy came out with the different music, I'm like, okay, this is different. Like he's definitely, you know what I'm saying, like a different person.
Yeah. He did. Jimmy came out with brand new music. It was like a whole nother Jimmy Uso that came out. So I guess they're doing the whole separating of characters and giving us something new with the two brothers.
I think Jay's gonna keep the Usos theme. You know what I'm saying? Because it fits him. Because you remember 2 weeks ago when he came out, he came out, but it didn't say Usos, it said Jay Uso. So, so you didn't see the end, right?
What happened at the end?
All right. So, quick fast. Obviously, all right. So Solo beat AJ because Jimmy came back and interfered. He hit AJ off the ropes. And then when Solo won, Jimmy got in the ring. And he tried to give he gave Solo a hug, like, yeah. So Solo grabbed him by his neck, about to give him a Samoan spike. So Paul Heyman was like, no, just leave me alone. So Heyman and Solo is going up the ramp. So Jimmy super kicks AJ, hit him with the Uso splash, and he puts up the 1. And I'm like, so are you trying to get back in the bloodline? Like,
these are the problems I have. Like, these are the problems I have with like just the storyline and what they're doing. And I don't know. We gotta do like somewhat of a deep dive into this. So let me just say my piece real quick. Again, if you guys are joining us, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment in the comment section below as we talk about SmackDown, and we go on to talk about Payback as well. See, this is my thing, right? Like, like when it comes to the bloodline and it comes to what's going on right now, I'm gonna just get to it. It feels like, again, because Roman Reigns has so much invested time, or they invested so much time in Roman Reigns being like this champion, like it almost feels like they're afraid to now pass on those championships to someone else because they feel like because they built them up that he's supposed to be like this big money guy.
Right.
And even though he is in some capacity, Roman Reigns is very much well in a position where he can be replaced by somebody else. A lot of times I feel like even in building someone up as a superstar and building someone up on a level of building up a superstar has been created versus a superstar who's organically blown up. It's a little different. Like a Stone Cold Steve Austin is hard to replace. A Hulk Hogan is hard to replace. A Rock is hard to replace. A Triple H is hard to replace. A Shawn Michaels, a Brett. Like these guys are a Macho Man. Like these guys were organically brought up through the crowds, you know what I'm saying, through the rankings, even with CM Punk. Like when you look at CM Punk, You know what I'm saying? Like Daniel Bryan had like a whole WrestleMania dedicated to himself.
Right.
This is the difference between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. And this is how we see the difference. Daniel Bryan had a whole WrestleMania dedicated to him as a performer. And, you know, they call it YesOmania, WrestleMania 30. Everybody cheered, everybody loved it. You know, they call it one of the best WrestleManias ever. And it definitely was one of the best WrestleManias for the history books, right? But when he went over to AEW, people tuned in, but the ratings didn't go up as much as expected, right? And Daniel Bryan's this big superstar, right? But when CM Punk comes back and he shows up on that screen, all of a sudden AEW gets the highest ratings for a Dynamite show they've ever received since they've been on air. And then the second night, they got, you know, higher views. And the third night, they get higher views, you know what I'm saying? Because Punk is there. And that shows you, even with Punk right now being someone with heat under him, that goes to show you how much of an organic star he is. And it's like with Roman Reigns doesn't have that CM Punk factor. Like CM, you know, as much as he doesn't have that John Cena factor. Same thing with Cena. Like Cena was organically like blown up. Same thing with, you know, with Punk. So it's just like I feel like they keep trying to hold on to the storyline because it's like we've invested in him. He's a long reigning champion. We can keep riding this train. We can keep milking this thing, you know, as long as we want or as long as we decide to stop it. And it's just like, nah, y'all gotta let this go. Because now this whole storyline is becoming confusing. Jimmy betrayed his brother because he didn't want him to be like Roman. And then after that, you know, after the fact of him trying to give an explanation of why, you know, now you have him somewhat kind of realigning with the bloodline.
Right. So that's a touch base on what you said about Punk and Daniel Bryan. Now I'm gonna tell you the biggest difference between those two. The difference with the reaction was because Daniel Bryan was wrestling after that, and you know what I'm saying. So that's why he didn't get that same nod. Now I give you, and you know, obviously Punk has done no kind of wrestling since he actually walked out until he came back to AEW. That's why everybody was like, "Oh snap, Punk! I ain't see Punk in like 10 years." All you know what I'm saying. But if Daniel Bryan would have never wrestled in WWE again, and after his neck injury, and he would have debuted on AEW, I think the reaction would have been actually probably more than Punk's if Daniel Bryan would have like his first match after his neck injury, after he had to retire, would have been the AEW. But the fact that he was wrestling WWE, he was actively on WWE. That's why, you know what I'm saying, the Punk's return felt more that's why he got that kind of pop. You know what I'm saying? Now Punk, you know what I'm saying, plus at the same time, yeah, Punk was a big draw because, you know, the best in the world. And then a lot of people kind of like kind of agree with him and felt where he was coming from, like, yo, you know, WWE catered to like the part timers and stuff like that. So a lot of people kind of resonated with him when it came to that. But I feel like Daniel Bryan would have gotten just as much or maybe more of a pop if, like I said, he never wrestled after his neck injury. Like Paige, you know what I'm saying? Now, you saw the reaction Paige got. Now, Paige is a little rusty from what Sean says, but.
Well, Paige is a porno, so that's different.
Huh?
It's that Paige has a porno, that's different.
Oh yeah.
You can expect her to get a huge pop.
But yeah, like even AJ, if AJ Lee decides to come back, you know what I'm saying, she's gonna get a huge pop just like because we haven't seen them in so long. It's like, oh snap, I haven't seen AJ since, you know what I'm saying, 2016. Like, oh my god.
I'm not talking about a pop.
You talking about impact.
Right. I'm talking about impact. Like, I mean, they're gonna have impact, period. I'm talking about a shift in the culture.
Okay.
Like a shift, like an actual shift. Like when Hogan went to WCW, that was a shift.
Yeah, absolutely.
The shift was so big that WWE fans stopped watching WWE and started watching WCW. And then when they didn't like the product as much as WWE, then because that's what changed in WWE was that the fact that Hogan wasn't there, and then Hogan goes to WCW. The ratings did boom when he showed up. But what happened was in that they didn't really like the product as much as they liked WWF. The ratings declined a little bit, and that's when wrestling was going through that like ratings decline. And then when the NWO situation started happening, ratings started to increase. So,
But I
Now,
mean,
now,
I think WCW had their biggest, what I'm saying, change when Hall and Nash debuted. When Hall and Nash, what I'm saying, came on an episode of Nitro, that's when it was like, oh snap, all right, let me tune in, let me see what's going on because you kind of was like, all right, who else from WWE? Oh, I'm sorry, WWF. Who else from WWF is gonna show up? You know what I'm saying? Are they kind of like going to come over and try to take over WCW? So that's when the real shift came, and you could tell it was a shift because that's when Vince was like, "Yo, I need a fake raise. I need a fake." Like Vince was scrambling, like, "Oh my god, like, well, I
yeah.
don't know what to do." Like, he was just trying to come up with anything to try to get people to continue watching his product.
If Daniel Bryant came back, if Daniel Bryant took a hiatus
Mhm.
and he took a hiatus and he left and then he came back, would the ratings increase and would it have the same impact? Truth of the matter is, let's say Edge says he's going to retire, right?
Mhm.
And he signs with AEW. You think those ratings are going to go up the same way as it did with Punk?
Um, I think so because just because of who he is and the fact that what I'm saying, the whole dream of, oh, we can get Edge and Christian again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think I think Edge would definitely have that same kind of impact that Punk had.
I think potentially, but I don't. I think potentially, but nah. It's a. I mean, me personally, I would have to disagree. It it was there are certain people like Punk shifted culture. Like he shifted the culture.
Right.
Punk, like certain wrestlers or performers, like the John Cena's, the Hogan's, the Rocks, the Austins, the Triple H, like certain guys, they shift culture, like they shift the wrestling culture. When you're a culture shifter, like when you move it, like if you know what I'm saying, like that's major. Like I mean, if Daniel Bryan said he was going to retire and he didn't wrestle for like a year and a half, and then he just showed up on, like, say he didn't like, let's not say a year and a half, right? Let's say he did take the time off, and say like right now AEW is going to do what they're going to do with CM Punk, right? And Daniel Bryan never showed up, and Daniel Bryan decided he's going to sign and he's going to show up right there.
Mhm.
Um, you know what? Kind of thinking about it, maybe,
I think so
maybe,
because
maybe.
everybody be like, okay, this is first, like he's actually back. Does he still have it? You know what I'm saying? Like I should love Daniel Bryan. You know what I'm saying? And then like you said, he'll be fresh off the Yesomania wave. You know what I'm saying? So everybody be like, I ain't seen Daniel Bryan wrestle in like 7, 8 years. You know what I'm saying? So now I want to see what he can do. Like I want to see if he still got it. You know what I'm saying? So the style or the whole mystery of what's going to happen or the or how he's going to say perform, I think that would have been more like the intrigue of everybody. Be like, I want to see what's going on.
Yeah. Um, I still say potentially. I don't know. I just don't see certain people. I just be like, yo, that guy right there. Like it's just me. I always feel like I don't know. I think potentially. I don't know. I'm still in between about it. I think potentially. Um, as far as this bloodline is concerned, situation, I think they need to. WrestleMania needs to be the last time. Like they need to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm saying WrestleMania because and it's crazy. Like on SmackDown, they like honestly, if you think about it, I mean, obviously last week was all about Bray, but they only mentioned Roman one time tonight. Well, outside of Jimmy mentioned him, but the announcer only mentioned it one time. It was like, yeah, we will be regressive. We didn't mention that Roman Reigns is now has passed 3 years of being Universal Champ. You know what I'm saying? So by them mentioning that, like, and then like I said, Roman is I feel like yeah, at Mania, like you said, at Mania, it's like all right. At that point, you know what I'm saying. Let's just move on. Let's do something else. If Roman's gonna, if you know what I'm saying, I'm not saying hey Roman needs to retire, but like just go a whole different direction just to see what's next. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, like you said, it's starting to get crazy, and I guess they're trying to play with the pieces. They're playing chess with it. Like all right, let me move this piece up. all right, let's move this piece back. Let's bring it here. You know what I'm saying? Let's just, you know what I'm saying? We got so many integral ways of how we can play around with it. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, Jimmy can actually go back into the bloodline and kind of destroy from within. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of ways they can kind of maneuver and play around with it, but it's just weird. You know what I'm saying?
It is weird. I mean, how do you see it going though? Like Jimmy, if Jimmy like goes back into the bloodline, right? How do you see this whole thing playing out as it and for a potential end? Like Jimmy goes in, like let's say, all right, so we look at it like this: Jimmy goes in, he joins the bloodline. Jay is out, of course. Like and then say from there, how do you see it ending? How do you see the storyline playing out to the end to where Roman loses the belts?
Well, honestly, everybody has to turn it back on him. You know what I'm saying? It has to be like, yo, like I had enough of you. Like I had enough of this. Like everybody has to literally just walk out to the point where it's either just him and Paul or him by himself. You know what I'm saying? And leave him on an island of relevancy by himself. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way that it would be legit. Like, all right, well, you know what I'm saying? Like in Philly say, yo, the bloodline is actually over. Because if you have anybody with him, like, because for instance, like when the Usos left, it's like, all right, damn, the bloodline is actually over. But no, he still got Solo and Paul, and they kind of kept that wave. So you got to like disband everybody. Roman can have not one person with him in order for it to be like, it's pretty much a wrap. But the crazy part about it is a lot like, obviously the OC is probably going to start feuding with him.
Mhm.
Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, they said they coming for everything. You know what I'm saying? So now that would be and you know it's funny. Ant was talking about what you call it. Ant was talking about Survivor Series
Yeah.
and War Games. I mean, you can have Lashley in the Street Profits against the Bloodline. You know what I'm saying? In War Games, you can have the Bloodline versus Judgment Day. You know what I'm saying? You can have Bianca join the Street Profits in Lashley, and they can fight the Judgment Day in War Games. Like it's so many
But
different ways that
so my thing is, the bloodline didn't. The thing is, the bloodline didn't start with the. I mean, the blood. Well, Roman's reign didn't start with the bloodline. It started with him and Paul.
right.
I mean, you don't have to end it with the bloodline all leaving him. He could just lose the titles, and that just be it. Like there's a Maverick that comes, like a Maverick and Jay, a Maverick and Cody that comes, takes the belt off of him every time he has an opportunity to get the belt back, or he has a heavyweight championship. Like say they book like 3 matches or something like that, best out of 3, and the first match, well, let's say, well, it becomes a best out of 3 after he loses the belt, and then he gets 2 more matches booked against the person. Like say, after the first match he fight, he loses. Like say he loses to like Jay or whatever, right? He loses to Jay, then they book another rematch. He loses to Jay again, and then Jay fights somebody else to face somebody else, and then Roman comes back around like yo da 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 da, and they book this last match or book this third match, and Roman loses, and then it's like, all right, we need to you need to face the facts. It's done. Like your time at the top is done right now. Like you need to regroup. So
But if you think about it, you can't have that because obviously if you still have members of the bloodline, they're going to ensure that Roman doesn't lose. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have them turn their back on him in
it
order
doesn't.
to like
Yeah,
lose legitly.
yeah, but it isn't necessary. But just because he has members in the bloodline, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed victory. Like again, like even with the blood, even with the Judgment Day, like it took them a while for them to capture gold. Like how many times we seen people in stables, and it took
Right,
them a while to capture gold. Like just because they were in a stable or they had stable mates didn't necessarily mean that they were guaranteed gold. It just mean that they were there to help them or try to assure victory. But again, like they would slip through the cracks.
right. But think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like the bloodline has helped Roman keep the title with numerous opponents, with Brock, with
Right.
Finn, with KO. You know what I'm saying? Like without Jay, you know what I'm saying without honestly a lot of their help, Roman probably would have lost about a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Especially the Finn. Well, I'm sorry, the Demon. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like you, there's no way that the bloodline would allow Roman to lose. You know what I'm saying? If they're a cohesive unit, like I said, they would have to like leave him on an island by himself, and he would have to like lose. And you know what I'm saying? Then they'd be like, so then it'll be like, all right, cool. Because like I said, if you even if Solo decides to leave, you have Jimmy and Roman, it's still gonna be like how it started with Jay and Roman. It's gonna be he still has that one person with him that's gonna ensure he's gonna stay champion and ensure ensure that he's on top. Look at SummerSlam. Solo's the main reason why he went. Well, Solo and Jimmy.
I mean, it's because I mean I don't see factors like that. I always see like yeah, it's just like I don't like. It's just like yeah, he wins the belt. Like I mean, yeah, he has the belt. He has the bloodline with him. They're there to ensure that he stays champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps his championship. But again, it's the same thing with with you know with like Triple H and DX, right? Triple H had DX with him, right?
Right.
And again, there's times that him having heavyweight championship matches, it did not ensure that he would get the belt. Like he's won the belt with the help of DX before, you know what I'm saying? And a few times, but there's times that he had DX interfere and that did nothing for him. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Flair. Like there's times that the Horsemen have interfered and helped him keep the belt, but there's times it did nothing for him. And that's the thing is like it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be a situation whereas he like the bloodline has to fall apart. I mean,
in order for it to for them to be over and for that storyline to be over, they have to.
Okay, all right. So bloodline falls apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get disbanded. They all fall apart. Roman is there now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who is it that's going to be the person that takes the belt off of Roman?
That's the question. That's the $1 million question.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Bloodline is disbanded. Roman has the belts, right? We go this route. Bloodline is disbanded. They turn it back on Roman. But now Roman has nobody in his corner. Let's say it gets down to Paul. Paul is the person that's like, I've always been there with you from the beginning. I'll be here with you to the end. And it's just him and Paul. Solo Sikoa says, I'm done with this foolishness. Jimmy says, Jimmy's like, whatever. And it's just him and Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How does that work?
I mean, even Paul as a manager, Paul can actually interfere in matches and kind of help. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, at WrestleMania, we thought Cody was literally about to beat Roman in the street. And then here comes Solo, Samoa and Spike. And you know what I'm saying? So we've seen it. So it's like, as long as Roman has somebody in his corner that can like kind of interfere or help him retain the title,
yeah,
it's you know what I'm saying. Now, granted, everybody can turn it back on him, and you know what I'm saying. He can still be champion, but there will be no bloodline if he hasn't. If he has people, if he has nobody with him, there's no bloodline. It'll just be Roman Reigns and as champion, but the bloodline basically it symbolizes him having his family with him. But if nobody's with him, there's no bloodline.
Yeah. All right. So there's no bloodline, right? But my thing is like, yes, there's no bloodline. Again, sorry, real quick. If you guys are watching, drop a comment in the comment section below. Chop it up with us concerning this topic on SmackDown, the bloodline. Also, if you got any predictions on Payback, let us know. Drop a comment in the comment section below. So my thing is like, all right, Roman is with Paul Heyman, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes him vulnerable to whatever opponent he's fighting, whether Cody, whether Jay, whether Sammy, right? And these guys make him completely. I mean, this makes him completely vulnerable, right? I guess like the most predictable thing is to say like because he doesn't have the bloodline in his corner, he's by himself. Whomever he faces, they have more of a fair shot because they don't have to worry about interference. They could beat him for the belt. and so forth. But the funny thing about that is that this is the same Roman Reigns who beat and pinned, who beat the Fiend and beat Braun Strowman in a 3-way match.
Well, you can't say that because he came out to the match
Wait,
after he was already beaten and battered and bruised.
and yeah, I mean, yeah, but nonetheless, I mean, this is still like Braun is like he's a big guy. He's still a big guy, and this is the Fiend. These are like two somewhat unstoppable
If you know, it's crazy.
performers.
If you think about it, Roman had the unofficial Money in the Bank during that match.
He did. He did. That was Vince McMahon's way of saying "F you fans."
Because
I'm going to make him champion. I don't
he
care what you think.
managed the whole match until they was literally like they beat the crap out of each other, and he comes out fresh with them saying with his imaginary briefcase.
Right.
He comes and wins the belt.
Right, like when
Because
Vince did it with he did that with Batista and John Cena. It was
yeah,
like John Cena got finished winning like a whole elimination chamber match, and then out of nowhere Vince was like, "Oh, John Cena, I forgot your next opponent, Batista," and he just comes like, "What? Like what? What?"
nah, that was Edge when Edge cashed the Money in the Bank. It was another time.
No, that happened. No, that happened with Edge at an elimination chamber, and then there
Right.
was another elimination chamber match. I think it was where
Mhm.
John Cena won the whole elimination chamber match, and at the end of the match, Vince McMahon came out and said, "Now, John Cena," he was like, "You got one more opponent, Batista," and then Batista came, beat him for the belt in the middle of the ring, and then like maybe 2 months or 3 months later, they fought at WrestleMania.
Right, and that's similar to how when Seth cashed in. Like, I mean, Seth had an official Money in the Bank. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it was when Roman and Brock they beat the crap out of each other, and towards the end of the match, Seth comes out, cashes in, adds himself to the match, and wins. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think he might have got hit, but it was just he got suplexed, Roman speared. You know what I'm saying? Then here comes Seth with his curb stomp. I'm sorry, the stomp now.
Right.
There was the belt. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh,
But like I said, Roman definitely had the unofficial Money in the Bank during that match. But yeah,
so
like yeah, but for your statement, like it, there has to be no members with Roman in order for that bloodline storyline to end. Like I said, now he can continue being champion for whoever knows how long, but he can't have not one person by his side. Maybe I mean, well, no active wrestler. He can have Paul because Paul is interfere, but it wouldn't be a bloodline. It would just be Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman.
so do you think his title reign has to end with the end of the bloodline?
No, he just has to have no member. He just has to have no members with him. That's it. I mean, he can still be champ. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now him losing the belt would solidify it.
Mm.
So him having no members and then him losing the belt that would solidify it. But um, but I honestly think or feel that let's say Roman does lose the belt,
Mm.
he's not going to show up on SmackDown every next week. He's going to take some time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to disappear for a while, and everybody will be like, "Oh, Dad, when he Roman left and he's disappeared." You know what I'm saying? Now, if he decides to come back, it's going to be you know what I'm saying. Like I said, months down the line. Like if let's say he loses that Mania, he probably won't show up until like SummerSlam or you know what I'm saying around that time, April, May, June, July, August, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, about 4 months.
Yeah. All right. So as you guys know, we have Payback Saturday.
Right.
We have Payback this Saturday. Big pay-per-view coming up. Roman Reigns is not booked to fight.
Nobody in the bloodline is actually booked to have a match.
Yeah, I think it's been reported that he's actually injured. Like he suffered an injury
Yeah, they
against
said
his
it was good. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I guess we can't expect Roman to come back until after Payback. He's gonna make an appearance probably on SmackDown.
Talk.
Come, he said what?
He's gonna come back and talk. He's not gonna get physical. He's
Right.
gonna talk.
Yeah, he's gonna come back and talk, and then they're gonna kind of like, I guess, further what they're gonna do with the bloodline. And I feel like, I guess at this point, they're gonna probably try to milk this situation. As far as what they're gonna do. But they need to start thinking fast and thinking quick. We don't need me personally. I don't want anything that makes sense. as far as like why he keeps the belt. I don't want that kind of situation. Like, yeah, it makes sense he kept the belt because now he's like legitimizing himself as a competitor and he's separating himself from the bloodline. And now he's still, it's like, no, I don't care about all that. Let's get to just the fact of him just like, let's get to him just losing the belt and us just moving forward. I'm just at the point where I'm just like, yo, listen, let's just move forward with this situation. Roman needs to lose the belt. We need somebody else with the title. We need somebody else fresh. This whole thing is not is getting old. It's like, yo, let this go. We need to let this go. We need to let it go now. Um, and I feel like right now they're probably in a limbo because they're trying to decide who's going to be the person to probably take the belt off for Roman. Is it Jay? Is it Sammy? Or is it Cody? And then, of course, the most safe choice. Uh, uh, LOB Kennel says no sound. So,
This Trav.
yeah, Trav, you can't hear us?
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like also like like I said, I feel with the bloodline, it's kind of like all right now. Then yeah, at the, like they're kind of like dragging it now, like because it's like yeah, it's cool, it's fun, it's like, but you know what I'm saying. I don't have that. I can't wait for SmackDown to see what's going to happen with the bloodline. You know what I'm saying? Vibes no more. It's like all right. What's gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they said Jimmy's gonna come back, and I really wasn't interested to see hear what he was gonna say because he already gave his explanation. You know what I'm saying? 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. So we know why he did what he did from what he, you know what I'm saying. So it's like, why did Jimmy have to come back and reiterate what, you know what I'm saying? But now what's crazy about it is you say that, oh, I don't want you, I didn't want my brother to turn into Roman or be like Roman, but now you trying to back align yourself back with Roman, like
Yeah, right, exactly. It makes everything he did um null and void. It was just like it just like it took away from just, you know, what he did completely.
right,
It took away from everything that he did completely. It's like, all right, so you did all that for nothing, pretty much.
yeah,
It was a waste of time
right,
and a waste of a good moment to actually transition the title. But like we all know, like they're milking this. They're milking it now. They're at the
of
point where
course,
WWE is milking this bloodline situation, where it's like, you guys, we know we're at the end of the rope. Trav says, laugh out loud, this ain't what we wanted to see. Cena got it right. The wrong Uso quit. So of course, like, we know the wrong Uso quit, but we know this is all a build for Jay to come back, right? He's gonna come back surprisingly. In what capacity? That's what they're working towards. But I think what they're trying to do is probably trying to build Jay for a solo run because, as you can see, when Jimmy came out to his own music,
right.
sort of like kind of came out as his own person. So I guess they're showing that divide between him and Jay. And I guess they're probably trying to they're gonna do one or two things. Either they're gonna really push for this Jay versus Jimmy match at WrestleMania, or they're gonna say, you know what, let's push for Jay versus Roman at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think they can stall and prolong Jimmy versus Jay for that long?
You goddamn right.
You really?
You will. They will milk it like nobody's business. They're gonna milk it. That's what they're gonna do. Trav says, can one of y'all admit I was right though? What were you right about, Trav?
So so Trav's argument and his defense, what he stated was nobody wants to see Jimmy Uso in singles competition, and nobody wants to see Jimmy. Um, but again, as I said numerous times on the show, they are the same people. You know what I'm saying? They are the same person. You know what I'm saying? That Jimmy is just as charismatic. Jimmy, as you know what I'm saying, is just as, you know what I'm saying, they got the same skill set. You know what I'm saying? They got the same
Yeah.
moves. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is right now, since Jimmy's trying to be a heel, he can't be as animated as Jay is. You know what I'm saying? But if you think about it, most of the time when they're together, Jimmy's more the talker, the more animated one. You know what I'm saying? So there's really no difference or no drop off. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to lose anything with Jimmy fighting in singles competition. But again, Trav, can you admit I was right? Because just because Jimmy turned on him don't mean we're gonna see Jimmy fight. You know what I'm saying? Every week. And SummerSlam was what August, in the beginning of August. We have
Yeah,
not seen Jimmy fight not one time. You
not
know
one
what I'm
time.
saying? So
As a matter, yeah.
you can have Jimmy come out and talk for about another month. You know what I'm saying? It's interfere and do stuff like it doesn't mean that he had because that's you have 4 Smackdowns a month. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy can come out one week, not come out another week, come out another week. He can come out every other week, and that's a whole month that we haven't seen Jimmy fight. You know what I'm saying? So just because, so that's why I was trying to tell Trav, like just because he turned on Jay, I mean, you know what I'm saying, doesn't mean that he has to fight every week. You know what I'm saying, of course, he can have a match at some point, but we're not gonna see him fight weekly or have all these different singles matches. You know what I'm saying? So Travis, you were not right.
He says Jimmy has no mic
I
skills.
disagree.
False. Jay would have killed that promo. Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, but to say that, okay, to say Jimmy has no mic skills, that's terrible. All right, so listen, Trav, Trav. I mean, let's we forget like this is the Usos at the time. This is the Usos, right? These guys at the time where WWE was definitely lacking talent and lacking, a lot of great performances and great gimmicks. Like this is the Usos who went from looking like little Ultimate Warriors to like to like the dudes that you see selling drugs on your street corner. Like they came out with the black joggers on, with the white uptowns.
Oh
They
my
had the black fitted cats, the black hoodies. You know what I'm saying? And these guys totally changed their image, and they did the whole Uso penitentiary gimmick, and it was just like, yo, that's not paranoia that you feeling. You know what I'm saying? That's the Usos. Like that was fire. Like when they came out and did and had their whole slogan together, like they definitely had great mic skills. Like they weren't like there's moments they've had where they sold it better on the mic and they were able to give good rebuttals to other performers. But as far as like carrying it all the time, they didn't do that all the time, but there were great moments, great promo moments that they had. So Jimmy was always, I mean, Jimmy was good on the mic. Like, I mean, if we talking about people who are like bad on the mic, the Usos is not one of those people I'll put in that list or that category. Like, if they don't give it to you that night, that first night, they definitely gonna give it to you that second night, that third night, and that fourth night. But in the first night, if they just meeting that person one on one, they probably ain't gonna give it to you then and there. But then, they'll follow up. They'll definitely follow up. Um, don't make me join the show. Join the show.
Yeah, like
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, join the show. Yes, they both have them, but when they got those single mic moments, Jimmy ain't it.
But at the same time, Trav, you gotta look at it like this. All right, what was Jimmy really gonna say to Cena? They don't have a match. You know what I'm saying? Cena hasn't been wrestling. So what was Jimmy really gonna say to Cena? You
This
know
is
what I'm
what he could have said to Cena. I said this tonight. I was like, yo, this is what he could have said to Cena. So Cena said, listen, he was like, Cena said, I've been waiting 3 years to say this. And I'm like, 3 years? I'm like, this happened like literally like a week ago. Like 2 weeks
saying?
ago.
Exactly.
He's never waiting 3 years to say this. Uh, he said something like,
Wrong
you
Uso.
yeah, the wrong Uso quit. And I was like, you waited 3 years to say that? Because that didn't happen 3 years ago.
Right.
What you talking about,
You know,
dog?
it's funny. I was saying the same thing. I was like, wait, I thought you were gonna say something crazy, and he was like the wrong. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, he botched that whole thing.
Yeah,
But he botched the whole thing. Uh I would have said he said have said I quit. He's what I would have said to him was like if he would have said to be like the wrong Uso quit, and I would be like, yeah, well, you try to marry the wrong Bella. I would have said something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but now the only thing about that was they wanted Cena to get their last punch. You know what I'm saying? They wanted Cena to you know what I'm saying, because they didn't want to go back and forth. So and the segment was only but for so long. So they wanted Cena to get the last niche. You know what I'm saying? So the crowd, I'm like, oh, and I mean, it's a lot of things he could have said. He could have said he married the wrong Bella. He could have said, yo, what are you doing back? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like you lost to Austin Theory. You can't even beat. You know what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of things. But again, it's like what can you really say? Because he had, like I said, they don't have a match. They don't really have a feud. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of stuff Jimmy could have said, but the promo was set up for you know what I'm saying, Cena to go over on it because again, Jimmy has to be the heel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And that would have been a hill line. Like Trav says, fire. He said fire on that punchline side. I was like, yeah. I mean, because that's the thing. It's like I think because me like to me is like when you in that ring and you got those 5 minutes. I always think about what The Rock said. I always think about what a certain performer said. Like, yo, when you there in that ring and you have those 3 minutes and those 5 minutes, yo, that could make or break you, man. And sometimes I've watched a lot of performers take the safe route, but then there's always a few wrestlers who don't take it safe, who don't walk safe, and they just be like, yo, we gonna jump out there, we gonna jump in the waters,
Right,
and whenever they jump in the waters, the performances get better. They break down that third wall, they get a little personal, they take little digs at each other, but it's not really, really to hurt them. It's it's friendly competition, like with Riddle and Seth, right? Riddle and Seth feud was like it was cool to watch him perform, but then when they had that promo, when
right.
the cameras was off, it was like, "Hey, you still," and then itself was like, "Hey, you still there?" And then, and Matt Riddle was like, "Yeah, I'm still here." And he was like, He's like, "Yeah, you little bitch." Da da da. I was like, "Yo, what?" And then he was like, and then they were just going at each other. It was dope. It was just like, and then when they showed that, it was like, yo, like that, and that made the feud even better. Like it made it better and just made you more interested, and then it was so dope that they played it like 2 weeks. They played it like 2 weeks in a row, like boom,
Right.
boom, boom, like just even to the build up to the match. Okay, he said, I will say, whoever wrote this promo didn't set him up for success. Like, and I definitely agree because when Jimmy came out, it was just like I feel like he should have came out and it should have been his moment. That's the thing that kind of took me. It wasn't really Jimmy's moment, and it should have been. Even if he would have took a FU, I mean an AA, because it was a moment for him to own that space of him being a heel.
Right, but you also remember what Jimmy said. He was like, "Yo, nobody came here to see you. They wanted to see me." Now, granted, I do kind of feel like it was kind of rushed because remember this SmackDown was supposed to happen last week. You know what I'm saying? Cena's supposed to
Okay.
have his stage this week. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I guess since you know what I'm saying they had to change plans yet last week, they kind of threw things in there this week. So I think like I said last week, if they'd have been on track and stayed, you know what I'm saying, stayed the course, and what happened last week didn't happen, I think that we won't be having this conversation about how because it would have been a whole different direction. But I think they had to try to like throw things in there because of the fact.
Or what they could have really did was they could, I mean, they didn't really have to have Jimmy in it. To me, it was just like when I seen Jimmy come out with
Yeah,
Cena, in my mind, I'm just like, all right, so the best way to make this work is to have Jimmy take some dig, like Jimmy say what he's going to say, but then my assumption is he's going to take some digs at Cena, and they're going to kind of go back and forth, and then possibly have a physical exchange.
right.
That didn't that didn't Yeah, that didn't happen. That would have worked. But if being that didn't happen, the better thing would have been to do was to have just Jimmy come out at the end of SmackDown,
That's great. That's what I thought was gonna happen.
right? And then just say whatever he's going to say, let the crowd boo, but at least it kind of like, because in the beginning you got John Cena, right? Because people want to see John Cena. Those who still want to see him, they see Cena, they cheer from whatever, right? And then we're still waiting to hear from Jimmy, right? That brings more, like it brings you a little bit of excitement in the beginning and some excitement at the end.
Right. And then I mean, like I said, now I thought Jimmy was gonna try to set up a match where either he was gonna fight Cena at Payback, so therefore he can have, or even I kind of thought for a split second he was gonna have a match tonight, but I was like, nah, it's too soon. So I'm like, yeah, maybe tomorrow there's a match for tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, yeah, it was definitely like yeah, like you said, they should have had their moments separately. Cena should have came out, said what he said, boom, and then Jimmy come out at the end of SmackDown and say. But I guess being able they had their angle, what they wanted to do as far as you know, what I'm saying Jimmy trying to I guess rejoin the bloodline. I guess they wanted to end that way. But you know,
Facts that. Travis said facts. I just had to spice up the show, saying he didn't have mic skills, so he didn't mean it. He was just trying to spice it up. He said, "Word is." He said, "Cena will tag with Cody to face Waller in Theory."
Now, with
Uh,
Theory's fighting Ray tomorrow, so
yeah, for
yeah,
the belt. I hope he gets the belt back. I really do.
I think he is.
I really hope he does.
Because Ray don't even look right with the belt. Like,
Yeah, it's like what, but right, but it's like why even got the belt? If the plan was to put it on Santo Escobar, right, so they can further the LWO storyline, cool. But once we knew Santo Escobar got injured, then but you know what I think is going to happen? I
there's,
think Santo's going to turn on Ray.
I think that too. Or if he doesn't turn, on him, he's gonna cost him the belt. You know what I'm saying? Kind of add friction to, like, so next week they're gonna be like, yo, you cost me the belt. I ain't mean to, I ain't mean to super kick you, or I ain't mean to hit you with the crutch. You know what I'm saying? I was aiming for Theory. Like,
Yeah,
so let's. I don't want to switch gear. Well, yeah.
now you
Let's
can switch gears.
on this whole uh what's his name? Nilly Vanilli, Xavier Woods.
Okay.
What? So it came out that he had a fractured something from that
Yeah.
chair shot. First off,
Yeah.
I get they have ways of writing them, but a computer chair.
I mean, I didn't see the shot, but how hard did he get hit with the chair?
So it wasn't even hard because I mean, obviously, as wrestling fans, we know he blocked it with his hands, but it's like, you know what I'm saying. So Drew picked the first chair, threw it in the ring. He picked the
Mhm.
second chair, trying to throw it at was it
Ivar?
not Ivar, the other one.
Avar? Nah.
But yeah, he tried to throw it at the other one, and he missed, and Xavier blocked it, but then Xavier was apparently knocked out from this computer chair. Like, really?
Oh, so it wasn't like a hard hit, and he just got hit like,
Nah,
oh,
nah,
I
he
need
just threw it. He just threw it. You know what I'm
to.
saying? And then Xavier died on set. He was in the trainer's office, and Xavier, I mean, and Kobe, he was like, "Hi," Xavier was like, "Yo," I mean, Kobe like, "Yo, he's kind of banged up, but he know you ain't doing it on purpose." I'm like, "Bruh."
I guess that's their way of so they're gonna job out Kofi because that's what they do. Like whenever the New Day, like whenever one is injured, they just job the other one out until they all come back together, and that's when they kind of like start pushing them and like to win like matches, and usually it's through a tag.
I'm just trying to figure out what they're gonna do with Big E because I guess the report is true that he's not gonna come back, or he's been advised not to wrestle again. So is he gonna just come out and be like just with them, saying backstage and just do little skits? But
So
you know
so are you saying that Big E's career is done?
that yeah. So the report was saying that doctors advised him not to get back in the ring. So I guess so now they say he's pondering on what he wants to do next. If he wants to if he wants to like be backstage or what. But I feel like they should bring them all back together on camera. You know what I'm saying? Even if Big E doesn't do anything, but at least bring them three together so therefore you can bring back, because what I'm saying, it doesn't feel right when you got 2 out of 3. You need all three of them together for it to be like legit, like, all right, the New Day is here.
Right. Trav says he says word he said he says he said will Cena tag up, he said Cena will tag up with Cody to face Grayson Waller, I'm sorry, Waller in Theory, and he says for the future, and then he also says LWO to promote them, and then he says also he says it was exaggerated, that chair shot with
Oh, it was too
Xavier.
exaggerated.
Then he says Big E is getting the edge. Paige and Bryant getting the Big E's getting the edge. Paige and Bryant treatment is WWE doctors that don't want to clear them. Well, I think for all safety purposes, they're trying to avoid that whole Draws situation, because when Draws took that he took that head dive out the ring and hit the barrier, and he was injured, it like really like it literally shattered those plates in his spine. So they're really trying to avoid having one of those moments where he's carried out on crutches and then he ain't gonna be able to walk again.
Right.
You know,
And and,
so
and to Travis' point, Trav, you can't really put them because honestly, Biggie weighs more than all three of them combined. Number one.
but no,
Um,
but Trav got a point. He has a point.
Right, but then Biggie literally got dropped on his neck. You know what I'm saying? Like Edge, you know what I'm saying? Edge and Daniel Bryan, they had pinched nerves. You know what I'm saying? Like Paige, she got kicked in the back. You know what I'm saying? By Sasha, and that messed her neck up. So theirs are a little different. Biggie literally got dropped on his neck. You know what I'm saying? So
But
that
yeah, he was dropped on his neck. But the same advice that was given to E was the same advice that was given to Paige, Edge, and Brian. The doctors told him, it was like, yo, listen. They said, listen, if you take a severe if you take a severe fall, you may not walk again. Like you may lose all, you may either die or you may not walk.
we need the attitude era doctors because Stone Cold got dropped on his neck. they I don't just and that one time they say, yo, Austin, I don't think you should do it. You know what I'm saying? But like exactly, Trav. Like Paige was cleared for years, and
Yeah.
you said she wanted to wrestle, but like Vince didn't want to do it. And I mean, but I also heard that before she went to AEW, Triple H did offer her like when he was because I think right before she left, Triple H had just took over, so I think he was talking to her about, hey, listen, so you want to come back and I think, but she had already agreed to say, I guess her mind was already made up because we know how women are. Once their mind is made up, nothing
Yeah.
about it. So I think her mind was already made up. It's like, yo, I'm gonna go to AEW and go over there.
Or she's probably at that point where her mind was made up, and probably at that point, like, you guys, like, I was cleared to wrestle, I came back, I got injured for a bit. Then once I got injured, you guys made me a manager. Then you guys made me a general manager, and then you guys just put me on the shelf and didn't use me. I'm totally clear to go back into the ring, and you guys don't want me to go back into the ring. And I guess she was just like, listen, you had so much time and space and opportunity to do something with me. And because I would have loved to see Paige back in the heavyweight title picture,
Right.
mixing it up with the likes of Becky, mixing it up with the likes of Charlotte and Bianca and all other women. Like, I'm like, yo, that'd have been dope.
Yeah,
But
Paige and Sasha would have had a fire match. They're about the same side. I feel like Sasha has her great matches with people more her size. Like since Charlotte is bigger than her, and I mean, she had a great match with Bianca. I'm not gonna front, but I think her best work is with people more her size because they, you know what I'm saying. So therefore, she can kind of maneuver a little bit better.
yeah, he says, remember, Brian was clear when they made him GM. Now that's true. He was cleared. He definitely was cleared. And I mean, and when he left, he didn't leave on it. And the funny thing about Brian, he didn't leave on the terms of he couldn't wrestle anymore. He left on the terms of he was like he gave the impression to us like he was done.
Right.
And then he just popped up in AEW, like, okay, like, all right, you said you were done.
And honestly, and I feel a lot of people go to AEW because of their schedule because they don't do live events. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, you're gonna either work Wednesday or Friday. You know what I'm saying? At that time, it's only working Wednesday. Now it's
Yeah.
like, all right, you either gonna work Wednesday or Friday. You know what I'm saying? You work, you know what I'm saying, or maybe Saturday, but you work 2 days out of the week. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the rest of the week to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Or we may never need you because we got so many people. So you may just work Wednesday and you got the rest of the week off. With
Yeah.
WWE is like you work your brand show. You know what I'm saying? So you work either Monday. If you work Monday, so basically it's like, all right, you work Friday. You got from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. No, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Friday back at it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
W was like, all right, you only work you work 1 day a week, where WWE you work 4 days a week. You know, 3-4 days a week,
Yeah.
and you have to go on the road. So AEW was like, all right, we're gonna be here this day, so you're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So like the schedule is different, travel is a lot different. So
Yeah. No, it definitely is. um, so before we wrap up, let's get to payback. Whatchamacallit, Trav says, no, Brian said they wouldn't allow him to be himself. Vince had him on a tight leash. That's the reason he left. But it was no bad blood between the two sides.
But we even said that, you know what I'm saying? Like even like we even had the argument a couple of shows ago where when Trav was saying that's why he don't watch NXT because he don't want to get used to a guy, you know what I'm saying, a move set on NXT and then you know what I'm saying they go to the main roster and you know what I'm saying it's different.
So Trav says that Payback will be trash. Um,
I mean, I don't like the card either.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really too. You know what the thing? Okay, so I say this personally. I'm not really. The card is okay. No, I mean, well, you got Shinsuke. Okay, so let me pull up the card. Let's pull up the card. Right. Uh, all right. So let's see. So we got starting from the first match, we have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Finn and Damian. Okay. Potential title shift, right? LA Knight versus The Miz, right? That should be a pretty decent match. Just watching them go at it a little bit. Ray versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship. My hope is that Theory wins the belt. Rhea versus Raquel Rodriguez. We know Rhea's going to win. Becky versus Trish Stratus in the steel cage match. Trash. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. The only match on this card that I really do not care about, or I'm like, it's going to be whatever, and has definitely proven to not necessarily be like the best of what we can expect when it comes to certain, you know, levels of performance, is definitely that Becky Lynch and Trish match. It's just like that feud has been terrible. Uh, it has no steam, has nothing to really kind of like really pull you in. But as far as every other match, we can potentially have a title change between Kevin Owens and between KO and Sami Zayn and Finn and Damian. We could potentially have a title shift between Ray and Austin, and we could potentially have a title shift in Seth and Shinsuke.
I don't think Seth. I don't think. I think Seth wins. I want to say that the Judgment Day when takes the belts from Sammy and KO. And like you said, Theory takes the belt from uh, Ray. Um, Rhea's gonna keep the belt. And obviously we know Dirty Dom is gonna interfere to help her keep the belt. Um,
What if this? I have a question. I'm sorry. What if Finn Finn and KO fight Sami Zayn, right? Fight the match. KO and Sammy win. At the end of the match, Damian Priest decides to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. They beat him up. They start beating him up or whatever. The new Judgment Day come in. They start beating him up, and then Damian looks around. He's like, and he cashes in his briefcase for the tag titles to take them. What if that's what happens?
wait, huh? Hold on. So Finn and Priest have a tag title match tomorrow.
Yeah, against KO and Sammy win. They win the match.
Okay.
At the end of the match, Finn, all the Judgment, Dom and Rhea come to the ring. They just start beating them up, and then Damian Priest decides, you know what? Let me cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase on these titles, and he cashes it in. They pin him, and they just win the belts, the
I mean,
tag title.
that'll be different. I feel like the best time for them to have done an angle like that to win for the tag title match would have been when Otis had the belt with him and Tucker cashing in on the tag title. I think that would have been the best time to do it. But I can if Priest does that, then it'll solidify like, all right, hey, listen, I'm all about the team. It's not it's saying we need. I told you it's a team effort, and I feel maybe tomorrow, what what's his name, JD McDonough finally officially joins the Judgment Day either Friday, I mean tomorrow or Monday, and that's my thing. That why I said pay per view should be on Sunday because now we're gonna watch Payback tomorrow and Sunday we're gonna be sitting there like, all right, what's gonna happen? What you know what I'm saying? What we got next? So we got a whole day to do nothing, and then Monday.
Well, well. Speaking of Sunday, Trav says AEW Sunday card looks fire. And Trav says Trav says that'll be awesome if Damian Priest decides to cash in on Sammy and Kevin for the tag titles. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. That's just something I'm throwing out in the air because it's something that's never been done. The only other person to do something like cash in on a heavyweight championship other than the cash in on a championship other than the heavyweight championship was Austin Theory for the United States title, but then have him get a second shot and then actually win it legitimately, which was a waste of the briefcase, which was a way for them to just say, all right, let's do away with this briefcase because we don't want to put him in the heavyweight title picture too early, which in my opinion, if he would have held on to the briefcase. So was the briefcase he had was before Mania, right?
Who Theory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because Roman had both titles, so there's like we're not gonna have him take the belt off of Roman.
But they teased it a couple times, and every time he teased it to cash it in, they either Brock stopped it or the Gypsy King stopped. So every time he tried to interfere, they was like, nah, B.
Yeah. He said then again, he may be the third or fourth person to lose his cash in match. From what I hear and what I believe and what I think it's so funny. I could see Damian Priest as world champion, but I would prefer Finn. I prefer Finn. Like I think Finn would be a better choice as world champion because then I already know like once we get Finn with that title, we're gonna get that Finn Balor, that NXT Finn Balor that had that belt. Like we're gonna get that old Finn Balor, and that's what I feel like Finn Balor's trying to do. Finn Balor's trying to go back to that Finn Balor that won that NXT title, and I think that's one of the reasons why they kind of going low on the Demon character. But
yeah, I don't. I mean, I can see it, but I don't. I can't. You know what I'm saying? Because he obviously, if he cashes it, but then it's like, all right, if he cashes in on Seth, then that brings Seth back into this feud with Judgment Day, and it's like, since, but again, like I said before, there's not enough heels on SmackDown. I mean, on Raw for Seth to feud with. So,
Seth is. I think. Well, Seth. What I hear is Seth is injured. That Seth has been nurturing an injury for a while. He said he was okay, but of course, he got what he wanted, which is the world championship match. This is like his second inaugural championship. He was the first NXT inaugural champion. Now he is the first world. He's been inaugurated as the.
So basically, I know the his accolade was he has competed in the most inaugural title matches. You know what I'm saying, in history. The inaugural NXT champion, the inaugural Universal champion, and the inaugural World. So he's 2-1 in inaugural championship matches. But
he is 2-1. He is right. He is 2-1. I was glad it was an Edge, honestly. Yeah. I was just happy it wasn't Edge. Truth be told, I didn't really like. I'm like, yo, listen, I want Finn Balor to win the belt, but I'm just happy. I like give it to anybody but Edge. But Edge. It's not that I hate Edge. It's just that I hate what they've been doing with his character. Okay. And if we had an Edge that was leading the Judgment Day and still around in some capacity, I probably would have been like, yeah, put the belt on Edge. But it's just like when you have a character that doesn't really make sense for storyline purposes and doesn't push anything forward, but just takes away from what's been built, like him beating the Demon, like him winning against Sheamus on SmackDown's like, why is he winning against Sheamus? Didn't make any sense to me. Him having a feud with AJ Styles and then him not losing the feud, but or him just having this random feud with AJ Styles approved like he's the sadistic, ultimate opportunist. It was like, okay, fake Triple H, like get out of here, like come on, man, like get out of here, like he was always like the cheap knockoff of Triple H to me, like when he did I'm the ultimate opportunist. It was like, yeah, that's who Triple H was. Like, stop it. Like, Seth injury is storyline written partially. He's really been for real. Like, if you like there's an article that came out actually before. The reason why I'm saying that is because Trav is because there was actually a storyline that came out literally not storyline, like an article that came out a week or 2 weeks prior to this whole situation with him and Shinsuke that spoke about Seth Rollins being injured. And I read an article, it was on like Wrestling Observer, and they were just talking about his injury. And then he goes into this feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, and he was like, and Shinsuke Nakamura says, "I know about your back." Like, I know. So I'm like, so the fact that they actually brought it on, they brought this injury up here on live TV. And if you noticed, Seth Rollins didn't fight on Monday Night Raw, did he?
No.
Yeah, he didn't fight on Raw. The week before that, I think he had a tag match.
Actually, no, I don't think Seth.
Or was it a tag? Or did he
Nah,
have a tag and then a singles?
Seth hasn't fought since Shinsuke turned. Since Shinsuke, there was that 6-man tag, and then Shinsuke hit him with the Kinshasa after. I don't think Seth has had a match since then.
He's nursing an injury.
No, I mean, but it's, I don't know. It could be storyline, you know what I'm saying? Because again, nobody know. Like according to him, his back been injured for a while, but nobody knows. But all of a sudden, Shinsuke is the only person who knows he has a bad back.
Well, I mean, Shinsuke has his inside sources, of course.
That's his partner.
Well, he knows about that back though. Swerve says, "Baby, his back hurt." He says, "What's up?" Anyways, left that fifth like. Appreciate you, Swerve. Appreciate you. But he definitely. But I mean, well, he hasn't been wrestling for like 2 weeks. We know Roman is injured, and right. I think one of the reasons, and again, one of the things they're one of the things that I'm noticing that they're doing is, and it happens to be such a great pattern, is the fact that when these guys get injured, they put them in less. They book them for less matches, especially on a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, because it's like what Triple H is trying to do is really do right by the champions. He's like, all right, because what happened to Finn Balor was robbery. Like, it was just like, yo, are you serious? And not just Finn Balor, but other champions alike who were injured, and they just needed like maybe a month to heal, or they needed a few weeks to heal before the pay-per-view. And then, they wouldn't have been 100%, but they would have been like 75% or 80%, where they could at least give you a decent match. And then and after that match, run a tag match where they don't have to do too much and put so much demand on their body, and then still give their body some more time to heal. So that way, when they are 100%, they can, step back up to their, usual routine of just, giving it all. And then, but it gives them time to heal. And I think Triple H is really trying to do right by the champions when they do get injured. Like, yo, how much time do you need? You think you can get this healed? You think you can get healed in 6 weeks? You think you can get healed in a month? You think you'll be fine, just resting on that injury, and you'll be at 100% after a certain amount of time. And if they're like, yeah, all right, cool. And that's what I think he's doing, because it was robbery what happened to Finn.
But I mean, but you think about it, that was under the Vince regime, and like I said, Vince isn't big on small guys. You know what I'm saying? So like the Dolph Ziggler, you know what I'm saying? When Finn Balor got the belt, it was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? All right, you guys said we should push this guy. All right, cool. He's injured. Oh, see, so Vince went into the boardroom like Killmonger, like, this is your champion. This is the guy you
Right.
talking about. Yeah,
Right.
he can stay healthy. Take the belt off him. Let's you guys strip. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
if you didn't really have Vince didn't really have faith in him to begin with, it's like, all right, I really didn't trust him anyway. I listened to you guys, and the guys you suggested is hurt. So yeah, I can't trust him to be a champ. Like you said, how Triple H is doing, like, all right, cool, you can be a champ. We're gonna keep you on TV. We're gonna, you know what I'm saying, do certain things, but we're going to, but you know what I'm saying, but we're gonna still make you relevant where you don't have to wrestle. and further injure yourself.
Austin Garrett says hi. What's up, Austin? Thank you for joining us. Again, if you guys are joining us, make sure you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, if you guys are watching as well, go to the Facebook page and you guys join our group so we can have these wrestling conversations. You guys can post articles and have conversations. Swerve says Dolph Ziggler is getting the conclusion after winning the world title. He said, "Where is Dolph Ziggler?" Austin Garrett says he loves watching WWE. But back to what you were saying, Jay. Where is Dolph? Dolph, I think Dolph is. We know Dolph Dolph probably silently retired. I was hoping he didn't,
I don't
but
think I think with Dolph, it's like they don't really have nothing for him. He's just technically a free agent. So it's like if they need him or they need him to step in to help put over talent, he'll do it. But it's like they don't really have no real storyline for him. So it's like, all right, well, we still paying you. So whenever we need you or we need you to come and step up, then like Ali, you know what I'm saying? They had to send Ali to NXT just to get some burn. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you
yeah.
know,
But with Dolph Ziggler, Austin Garrett said, "I just submitted you. Appreciate you for subscribing." Uh, the thing is, like when he won the NXT title, I think that was like his last championship hoorah. Like
yeah,
if he
I believe
won, it was almost like like Triple H is like, "Yo, I can't give you that world heavyweight title. You deserve one, but let's give you something to kind of like still show our appreciation for your hard work, your great in-ring performance, what could have been or what we could have done or what Vince could have done with you years ago, and just give you a little something as a token of appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Like you won a world title, you won an Intercontinental United States tag title, won an NXT heavyweight championship. Yeah, how about another heavyweight championship? It was NXT. And I think that was like a sort of like last hurrah. Uh, Ziggler too good to be on the sideline as a six man. Oh, he is, man. Like he's definitely one of those guys, that's just like, Vince just tossed in a trash can or tossed aside and just looked at it as a jobber. It's so funny because he didn't do that with AJ Styles. AJ Styles came in, he had one good title run, and then after that, Vince again felt like he wanted to go again with AJ, and he was okay with that. And then he gave AJ a whole year with the belt. You know,
AJ's too big of a name for them to like toss him to the side or just be like, all right, well,
but Dolph Ziggler was more popular than AJ
I wouldn't say that.
Before AJ Styles got there, he was more popular.
I mean,
Dolph was bigger. I mean, most people knew who Dolph was. Like, I mean, AJ Styles. Like, if you didn't watch TNA and you wasn't watching New Japan Pro and you wasn't watching TNA and New Japan Pro in the Indies, you wouldn't really know who AJ Styles is. But if you're just a person who's watching like household names,
that's not
you're
true.
gonna more than likely know who Dolph
I
Ziggler
didn't
is.
watch not any of them, but I knew who AJ.
Right.
I'm saying like,
Yeah, I mean, don't tell Sean that. You tell Sean that, he'll disagree. But the fact of the matter is like more household people would know who what you would call it is. LA Knight. Obviously Garrett likes LA Knight. In fact, Ziggler was more popular. Yeah, he was more popular. Like he had a bigger house. He was part of a household show. Like everybody, like more people or those people who watch indie shows are just hardcore wrestling fans. That indie stuff and New Japan Pro is for hardcore wrestling fans, but you have a lot of just avid wrestling fans who watch it. Like my grandmother, she's like an avid, wrestling fan. She watches Smackdown. She used to. She says she can't watch it no more because it caused her to give heart palpitations because she was getting too excited. So she had to stop watching. But my grandmother used to watch wrestling. But for somebody like her, she knew who Dolph Ziggler was. But I said to my grandmother before AJ Styles come in, like, hey, you know who AJ Styles is? And she's like, AJ Styles, who's that? You know what I mean? She wouldn't know. So, but she would know who Ziggler is. Oh, Ziggler, that bum, or Ziggler. Oh yeah, I know who he is, the booty shaker, or whatever she would think. But
right.
Yeah. But yeah, so we are an hour and 30 minutes into the show. It is 11:41. It's a Friday night. Don't want to keep you guys up all night because I already know some of you guys probably got a party you got to go to because we have a 3-day weekend ahead of us. We have a Saturday, we have a Sunday, and a Monday. So more than likely, you guys are either going to watch Equalizer, but most definitely, you guys are watching Payback, and then Sunday, you guys are watching All Out, and Monday, most people are barbecuing. So don't want to hold you up, but definitely want to give you guys some good conversation before the weekend hits. And we will go live. We're going to try to go live after Payback to cover the show. Um, and we'll definitely give you guys a notice if you guys want to know if we're going live. You guys can definitely subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to the Facebook page. We'll post a notification, let you guys know. We just started our Twitter page, so we will be posting every time we go live as well on Twitter, and making sure you guys know when we go live. But yes, indeed, enjoy your 3-day weekend. I am signing out. I'm your host, Saheem the Dream.
It's your boy, the protege, J Mac Mizzle.
And I'll see you guys. We will see you guys later. Peace.